Picture this. You're sitting at a red light in what looks like a regular clean four-door sedan. No giant wing, no flashy livery, no crazy stance, just a calm, confident machine sitting quietly. Next to you is a guy in a European performance car, smirking because he thinks he's already won the race that hasn't even started yet. The light goes green. You plant your foot down, and suddenly the quiet sedan explodes into life. A deep V8 roar fills the air the tires grip, and the family car turns into a bullet. Before that guy even realizes what happened, he's looking at your taillights disappearing into the distance. That's not a dream. That's the Pontiac G8, a car that came out of nowhere, punched above its weight, and left a legacy that real car enthusiasts still talk about to this day. It's one of those machines that never really got mainstream love when it was new, but the people who knew, they knew. This was Pontiac's last big swing before the curtain fell, and it was a damn good one. The Pontiac G8 was everything gearheads love. V8 power rear-wheel drive, sharp handling, and a price tag that embarrassed its European rivals. And what makes it even cooler is its backstory. This wasn't just some domestic sedan cooked up in Detroit. It was born in Australia, engineered by Holden, and sent across the world to wear a Pontiac badge. What we got was one of the best American sleepers of the 2000s. The G8 hit the market in 2008, right in the middle of an automotive world obsessed with crossovers and front-wheel drive family cars. Pontiac rolled in and said, "Nope, let's give people a proper driver's car." It was bold, it was loud, and it was different. And that's exactly why it's become such a cult classic today. Underneath the surface, the Pontiac G8 was based on the Holden Commodore, a car that dominated Australian roads. That platform was built to be driven hard. It had the balance of a sports sedan, but the toughness of a muscle car. And when GM decided to bring it to the US, they didn't just ship a rebadged car, they gave it a new personality. They gave it attitude. At launch, the G8 was offered with a couple of engine options, but the star of the show was the G8 GT and the G8 GXP. This is where things got real. Pop the hood of a G8 GT, and you'll find a 6.0-liter LS3 V8, pumping out 361 horsepower and 385 pound-feet of torque. That's enough to push this four-door sedan from 0 to 60 mph in about 5.3 seconds. And if that's not enough, the GXP took things even further. It came with a 6.2-liter LS3 V8, the same engine you'd find in a C6 Corvette, making 415 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. With the right driver, it could sprint from 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds in a sedan that looked like it belonged in a Target parking lot. This wasn't just straight-line power, though. The G8's handling was one of its biggest surprises. Remember, this was a Holden at heart. It came with a stiff chassis, a fully independent suspension, and near 50-50 weight distribution. That meant it could carve corners just as confidently as it could blast down a straight. It wasn't a soft cruiser. It was sharp, balanced, and alive. The steering had actual feel. The brakes were strong, and the rear-wheel drive setup made it a proper driver's car, something rare in its price range at the time. And here's the kicker. All this performance came wrapped in a body that didn't scream for attention. No wild aero kits, no oversized spoilers, just clean lines, muscular fenders, and a quiet confidence. It was a true sleeper. To the untrained eye, it looked like a regular sedan. But enthusiasts, they saw it for what it was, a wolf in dad's spec clothing. Inside, the G8 wasn't trying to be a luxury car, but it didn't feel cheap either. It had a simple driver-focused cockpit, supportive seats, clear gauges, and just enough tech to make it modern without being overcomplicated. What made the G8 special was the way it drove. Now, let's talk about one of the reasons the G8 has become such a legend: tuning potential. Because under the hood sat an LS engine, and anyone who's ever touched a Chevy small block knows what that means. The LS platform is basically a blank canvas. Tuners love it. Want more power? Simple bolt-ons like intake headers exhaust, and a tune can wake these engines up big time. With basic mods, a G8 GT can push well over 400 horsepower to the wheels. Go a little deeper, cam swap forced induction, maybe a supercharger or turbo setup, and suddenly you're running with supercars while hauling groceries in the back seat. The LS3 in the GXP is even more capable. These engines are rock solid and can handle serious power without giving up reliability. There are countless G8 builds making 600, 700, even 800 horsepower on the street. And because the chassis is so well balanced, it can actually handle it. It's not just power for the sake of numbers. It's power you can use. The Pontiac G8 wasn't just a muscle sedan. It was a driver's sedan. You could row your own gears. Yes, the GXP was available with a 6-speed manual transmission. That's something you almost never see in big 4-door V8 cars anymore. It gave the car a raw, connected feeling. Driving a G8 isn't like driving a modern performance sedan with all its electronic nannies. It's more analog. The steering has weight. The rear end talks to you. The car wants to be driven, not just pointed. You feel every throttle input, every shift, every corner. It's engaging in a way that's getting rarer and rarer today. The G8 was kind of a last hurrah. Pontiac as a brand didn't survive long after this car hit the market. It launched in 2008, and by 2009, Pontiac was gone. The timing couldn't have been worse. The G8 arrived during the global financial crisis. People weren't buying V8 sedans. They were buying hybrids and compact crossovers. Pontiac planned for a big future with the G8 lineup. They had dreams of more trims, more performance versions, and even a wagon variant like the Holden Sport Wagon. But when GM pulled the plug on Pontiac, all of that died with it. What we were left with was a short-lived but unforgettable performance sedan that became a cult classic almost overnight. Today, the G8 holds a special place in the hearts of enthusiasts. It's not just because it's fast, it's because it has character. It has that old-school charm mixed with modern performance. It's the kind of car that makes you grin like an idiot every time you hit the gas. Another thing that makes the G8 so appealing is its value. For a long time, you could find clean G8 GTs and GXPs for way less than their European competition. LS engines are cheap to work on, parts are easy to find, and the aftermarket scene is massive. Of course, like any car, it's not perfect. Pontiac had some quality quirks, and interior plastics weren't the best. Early models had some transmission issues if they weren't cared for. And because production was short, finding a clean one today can be a bit of a hunt. But for enthusiasts, those downsides are small compared to what you get in return. Imagine rolling through a tunnel in a G8 GXP. You downshift the 6-speed manual, the LS3 snarls, and the sound bounces off the walls like thunder. It's not just fast, it's emotional. You feel the vibrations through the wheel, the seat, the shifter. Every sense is alive. It's a car that doesn't need crazy electronics to feel special. The G8 also carries a lot of legacy. It's the spiritual cousin to the Chevrolet SS that came later, which was also based on the Holden Commodore. The SS kept the torch burning for a few more years, but for many people, the Pontiac G8 is where it all started. And even though it's not JDM, the G8 shares the same DNA that car enthusiasts love. It's underrated, it's got community, and it delivers that raw, driver-focused experience. As the years go by, clean G8s are getting harder to find. Enthusiasts are holding on to them. Values are creeping up. People are finally starting to recognize what this car was. It was Pontiac's mic drop moment, their last masterpiece. And if you can find one today, especially a manual GXP, you're sitting on something truly special. When you're behind the wheel of a G8, you don't need to explain anything. The car does the talking. It's not about flashing a badge or flexing a price tag. It's about the way the car makes you feel. Pontiac may be gone, but the G8's legacy lives on. It's remembered by those who drove it, loved by those who own it, and respected by those who know what real performance looks like. And that's why, even years after its short run, the Pontiac G8 is still one of the best modern sleeper sedans ever made. So if you're a young car enthusiast out there dreaming of building something unique, something with soul, something that can gap cars way more expensive than yours, keep the G8 on your radar. It's a car with muscle brains and the heart of a legend. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. What's your favorite sleeper car? Let's talk about it.